Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, you guys made it back.
Again.
Yeah, you guys made it back. The guy from the dinner table from the last one, he made it back. Shout out to the guy who shouted us out for giving him a gold star. So for that, he gets 2 gold stars this time.
Exactly.
2.
And a smiley face.
And a smile. Ooh, smiley face, you guys. He even has a little indents, you know. He really likes the Joker one, so we give him the Joker one, you know.
Yeah, exactly. The Heath Ledger one.
The Heath Ledger one. See, you can earn one too, but you guys need to come and view it too.
Yeah, you have to subscribe, like, post notification bell, share the video with your friends, you know, get the word out there, get the hype out there.
2 couch review, you guys.
Exactly.
You know,
2 couch review.
That's all it is. Just real quick like and subscribe and all that. And actually, our video, she's doing pretty good. So
yeah,
with that, you know, let's keep the momentum going. So
for sure,
you know, so with that, let's just jump in it, dude. You know, episode 4 through 6, Fire Force. You know, so want a little preview?
Yeah, let's do a preview. Why not?
Ready?
What's going on, guys?
Hey!
How was it? What'd you think? I mean, okay, so I guess we'll just jump right into it. I'm going to start it off today. First off, I liked all of the episodes, just putting that out there, but we're going to start with 4. So for 4, I liked it. It was a little bit slower. It was more plot building for episode 5 and 6.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it just helped kind of build the picture and the scene for what was going to happen in those episodes. But overall, I thought it was great. I thought, you know, they're doing really good with the character development and expanding the world of Fire Force a lot more. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I really liked episode 4. I thought the people who wrote episode 3, because sometimes they had different writers for episodes, episode 3 clearly wrote episode 4 and 5 and 6 seems like it might have been a different person, but without a doubt, I've actually liked all 3 of these episodes. Episode 4, that was really good. I loved that I had a feeling they were going to do it, and I'm glad they did it because I was like, this would be great for character development and actually great for the storyline itself. Oh yeah, spoiler alert. It's going to be right above our heads.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you know, I'll give you a second.
Yeah,
so if you want to run out the room.
If you want to like click off or something.
Yeah, click off or run out the room. They officially had the first self-aware Inferno. And this character is actually a guy who used to be a part of the Fire Force himself, and he ended up, like, I guess going crazy, or was crazy to begin with. They didn't really specify that 100%.
No.
And then he ended up murdering people, and then while he was on trial, they ended up getting him off. Like, the lawyers got him off. He was going to be free. A lot of people are upset about that in the courtroom, and then all of a sudden he becomes Inferno. He basically implodes and becomes an Inferno, and it's just like, whoa. But then also too, he's self-aware, so he's actually still himself, but as an Inferno.
Exactly. None of the other ones were talking or like aware of what's going on. They were just basically like blindly attacking whatever was in their line of sight.
Exactly. And I really liked that. And then actually I liked his character design. His little character design where he's missing half his skull was like neat. The whole little premise of how he was there. I liked how it continued. From now on, I'm going to call him Sriracha because I thought it was funny. But Shinra, his character, he shows up and he start fighting, and he's trying to tell him, like, you know, why are you attacking me? Don't you realize I'm a living being? And he's like, well, didn't I tell you? Didn't he tell you that, you know, murdering people's not a good thing? And he's like, well, I say numerous people, so it levels out. So you know what? I'm going to murder you. Why not? And then they get into it. And then, you know, if fast forward a little, then that's when Fire Force 5 show up.
And Company 5
Company 5 shows up. They kind of kick ass. Let's be real, you know.
Yeah, they wanted the Infernal to themselves because what their whole goal is to just like do research and sell their research so they can, you know, I guess get funding for their company. So when they heard about this Infernal that was self-aware and still had his memories and, you know,
yeah, he was,
and still his ability to, I don't know, act upon his own will, they were like, oh, that's pretty interesting. We should look into this.
Yeah. An interesting little tidbit in the beginning of this episode, they did specify that the character Joker, just, a little backstory, the ashes he's using are from previous Infernos. He's somehow getting their ash, so it leads you to think that the people in the company, maybe 5, are the ones giving the ash to this guy. Or giving it to one of the scientists who are giving it to this guy, and then he's the one making these.
Exactly.
So,
or it could be other companies.
Could be. So they're not. It's not 100% certain yet. They still even specified in these episodes. Just a little tidbit of back information.
Mm-hmm. So that was pretty much episode 4. I liked it.
Yeah, I get
definitely thumbs up for me.
Yeah, I liked it. That was a good sequence. That was the first episode. After episode 3, I was just like, I like this episode. It was a good episode from beginning to end for me. I didn't have any real nitpicks on it. So episode 5. I really enjoyed episode 5. This is actually the first episode that had a great build up into a full episode that was basically a full fight.
Yeah.
Which case we'll get into that. But episode 5 was good. Ends up showing the sister. I'm actually, all I know is the sister, right? They've said her name like once in that.
It's Iris.
Iris, thank you. She ends up going over there to try to talk to the princess. And even then, I forgot her name too. Captain of 5.
She's captain of Company 5.
Company 5, and then her name is the princess because she treats everyone as basically nothing or beneath her.
Yeah.
And so with that, she goes to try to reason with her, and later you find out that they were associated with each other from back then when they were when she was becoming a nun. That was the same thing with her. They're becoming nuns together, hence why they call themselves sisters. That whole sequence I thought was good because it gave the Iris a good little backstory. Mm-hmm. And the scene where she burns her and then throws her coat makes you think, well, she still does give a shit about her. In my opinion, that's what it looked like to me. So when Sriracha, he shows up, basically they say, you know what, screw it, let's just go storming in there, let's go get him. He ends up going over there first, and then he ends up starting to get everything going, and then that's when the other company of Company A shows up to back him up, and all that sequence happened, in which case I like that because it actually did show the I guess he'd be considered a lieutenant.
Yeah.
He ends up showing how his power is and all that. So that actually liked, and then he's like the one backing him up. And honestly, he's actually pretty whoop ass. He's like, he has
a pretty cool power. So like we explained in the last episode, a lot of, not all of them, but a lot of the Fire Force members have the ability to control fire or create it, or some don't have any powers at all. But his power is that he can control the explosions inside of a gun to either minimize or maximize the lethal force of the bullet.
Yeah.
So earlier in the episode, he shot Shinra in the leg because Shinra was being a dick.
Yeah.
And it literally left like a little mark on his pants. Like it didn't even break through the clothing.
Yeah.
Because he lessened the power of the bullet so much.
Yeah, just to give him an example, like, don't step out of line.
Exactly.
This is what it is.
So later on, when they are storming through Company 5's base.
Yeah. In which case, the reason why they're doing this is so that way they could try to find out information about them, what they're doing, their research, why they took the Inferno, and to basically get Iris back. But that's kind of like a side story that was just added within it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because Company 8's job is to investigate the other 7 companies and determine if they're, I guess, with
Fire Force, the actual.
Yeah, are they trying to help out the Fire Force? Are they really there to save people, or are they there for ulterior motives? So that's why they went over to Company 5 in the first place, and so during that whole fight scene, Shinra and son of a bitch, I forgot the name. The knight, blonde haired kid. Arthur. Shinra and Arthur go in first, and the lieutenant, he's backing them up, and there's a part where he's firing bullets at some of the people from Company 5, and he's not intentionally missing, but like he misses and he's like, oh, I'm just gonna control the sparks that came off of from when the bullet hit the ground and move the bullet somewhere else.
Yeah.
So he was like ricocheting all these bullets around to hit some guy.
Hit a guy who's one of their company people who has pyrokinetics himself. He was I want to say 2. Yeah, because he has to use gum. That's right. Yeah. That character has to use gum in order to make like an explosion.
Yeah.
So basically, they just wipe them all out. Mm-hmm. Then you get to Arthur, who has to fight, and this is when you find out. Wait, is that episode 3 or excuse me, episode 6 or 5? When you find out that they're actually controlling.
I think it's episode 5.
It's still episode 5.
I think it's still episode 5.
I believe it's episode 5. Well, with that case, regardless if it's either or, because this story literally bridges into the next episode 6. So regardless, it's still gonna continue. Then you find out that no, because episode 5 is when you show them working on him to begin with, and at the end of the episode they still haven't showed it. So anyways,
maybe
in the episode you see the princess conducting experiments on the Inferno, and then they're there to storm in the base, and then it leads into episode 6. Episode 6, they're in there. Shinra's just doing his thing. Sriracha is in there doing his thing, trying to fight. And so he immediately gets to the princess, and immediately you find out that at first he is no match for her. Mm-hmm. At first, and then she explains what her power is, and he starts figuring out how to like counteract it. And let's be real, princess is like kind of like badass.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna front. She's pretty damn powerful, and she's
her power was like, it basically like heated up the other person's like blood, mm-hmm. so that it didn't flow right, and it made them like lightheaded and not able to use their own powers because they basically like
they don't have the right blood flow to the brain to work correctly, aka vertigo. If anyone out there has vertigo, shout out to you. Really sorry that sinks, but hey, watch this episode, you can relate to it.
Yeah.
Hey.
So Arthur's fighting the Infernal.
Yeah, so
and the Infernal's being controlled by one of like the elderly guys in Company 5, one of the scientists.
Yeah, he has a round pointed like cone head.
Yeah.
And
he gave him a drug to make the Infernal more powerful. Just, I don't know, I guess as a test.
Yeah, more or less.
Arthur was kind of getting his ass beat throughout the whole thing.
And that bugged me. Okay, so he's getting his ass beat and then he keeps saying something's off, and then the older scientist guy who's controlling him says, basically stop making excuses for you not being as strong as the Inferno. And then finally Arthur realizes, oh wait, the reason why I've been messing up is because I'm actually right-handed, not left-handed.
Yeah.
And so he switches
hands.
Why am I
holding the sword in my left hand?
In which case, that was one thing that kind of bugged me, because I'm like, come on, dude, that was kind of dumb. But I get it. His whole character premise is that he's actually kind of a moron.
Yeah.
And so literally that proves he is a moron, effing moron. So he ends up switching hands and immediately kills the Inferno like nothing. And actually, that's pretty much where that part of the story ends. It doesn't have nothing more after that.
No, not really.
And then it goes back to Shinra, Sriracha, fighting Princess, and the whole sequence where she ends up bringing out the cherry blossom tree, which is just her fire flame. She's actually manifested it, and it ends up burning Shinra with it. And he ends up, she ends up doing a vortex around him, and he ends up explaining like, I'm a hero, and you can't really defeat me because heroes always prevail.
Yeah.
He ends up breaking through it, and then that somehow gets into her subconscious and realizes like, oh, this guy really is who he says he is, and he's trying to be a good person.
Exactly.
And and in that whole sequence, it does show their backstory of Princess and Iris and why they're the way they are and all that. And he ends up breaking through and hits her and knocks her down. Actually, knocks her out.
Yeah, it knocks her out.
More or less.
That was a solid punch.
Oh, solid punch. So that whole sequence happens, and that's when she remembers everything, gives you backstory. She comes to, and then she realizes like she doesn't want to be the bad guy, if you will, anymore.
Exactly. Like she's, I don't know, turn a new leaf.
Turn a new leaf. There you go. No puns intended.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, it doesn't really give any more backstory after that. She's now she's going to be part of the main cast now.
Probably,
she's so powerful, and she really has a dynamic that I think she's a really cool character. I immediately liked her. The only thing I didn't like was that if I had to nitpick something, was it like, oh, all of a sudden now I'm a good character, even though I was really crazy a few minutes ago.
I don't know, man. A solid punch can do that to some people.
Possibly. But other than that, though, I still enjoyed the episode.
Yeah.
So so my final review of this, episode 4 through 6, I enjoyed all of them. Episode 6, the only part I nitpick was that how she became good to bad or bad to good really fast. Yeah. But even then, I still enjoyed it. I'm glad that they're going to keep her in the show because I was like, I like her. To be honest with you, I was kind of hoping that she would stay a bad guy for a couple more episodes. But I still think she's a good character. The dynamic she's going to add to the show is without a good. So I say yes.
Yeah, I would say so. I liked 4 through 6 quite a bit. It had a very good storyline that continued throughout the 3 episodes.
Yeah.
There wasn't really too much left that we didn't see. Everything kind of wrapped up.
Yeah, in a nice.
There wasn't really no cliffhangers or anything like that, except for the Joker bit at the very beginning of episode 4.
And they didn't touch back on it at all.
Nope.
So I'm assuming they're saving that for episode 7, 8, 9, possibly maybe further.
Yeah.
We're not sure yet. But with that being said, keep watching.